Welcome back to the Being Human and Shit podcast. I am super excited for today's guest, which is my very first returning guest. She was episode number 1. Also my most listened to episode that I've ever had across any podcast. So big expectations, obviously, for this one. But welcome back to the podcast, Britt.
Thank you. It's very good to be here.
Yeah.
I guess we're kind of a big deal together.
Yeah, I guess so. The people like us.
The people have spoken.
The people know what they want. But this is a bit of a different setting than the last one.
Yes, we're in like a couch. Last time we were in the jungle with mosquitoes attacking. And yeah, here I have an actual clothes on and socks, so that's different.
Yeah, I'm not just in my. I think I was still in like my ceremony clothes last time. So this is with ayahuasca coursing through my veins.
Yes.
So
because we had drank the night before.
Yeah. I will say it is worth mentioning too, even from then to now, which is only 9 or 10 episodes or something like that. But I have changed the entire idea behind the podcast already.
Okay.
I haven't mentioned that on the podcast, but like when you were episode number 1, the idea was like, I only want to record episodes after I had sat with medicine with somebody, and like, all of my guests, I wanted to at least have sat in some sort of ceremony with them, and have realized since then that was unsustainable. That wasn't, I can't do that.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're here now.
I remember when you told me about that idea, I was just thinking, wow, that is a commitment.
Yeah, it was. And one that I wasn't willing to go through
One you
with.
didn't want to commit to.
No.
Because you had made it for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was no one was holding me to that but me.
Like, how about not?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I don't know about you, but usually the day after ceremony, I'm just totally wiped out on most things. So, and it's fun. It was fun to talk to you totally exhausted, but
Yeah.
It feels good to be like here and showered and rested.
Yeah. I think now it's more of just the idea of I think that whole reasoning behind it was I wanted to, I thought it would help me be able to just, drop in deeper with somebody and already have some sort of prior relationship. But I think just the idea of actually recording in person actually just kind of accomplishes that. At least what I was trying to do. Because I used to do all my podcasts just online and with people that I had never met or never even potentially talked to until that point. And I don't think when you're recording a podcast online, especially if you're a guest, you don't have enough skin in the game, So like you could be coming from whatever the fuck you were just doing and just, hop on Zoom and just be like, okay, like, what do you want to talk about? And then just leave and go to your next thing. And like, there's no intentionality there's no built-in intentionality behind it. Whereas with having to come and, be here, physically be in a space with somebody, there's already like a little bit of a barrier that I think's being broken.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I love this space too. It's really cool to be in a podcast studio. And yeah, it makes me a little bit more nervous to talk, but then I'm like, okay, well, we're just talking. It's fine. We have pretty lights and microphones, but still us.
Yeah, still us. So what's up, Britt? What have you been up to?
Oh, what have I been up to? Well, I took a trip to Colombia with my mom and my sister. We had so much fun, but yeah, I just realized my real, like, regular day-to-day life is not so different from my vacations anymore, which is a really nice feeling. It's like, oh, what am I doing on vacation differently? Not really much. I'm still kind of spending all day reading, doing a little bit of work, like the only difference is I'm going out to eat, which is really nice and fun. But for the most part, yeah, I'm still doing plant medicine ceremonies. I took a 2.5 month break from ayahuasca.
How was that?
I really missed ayahuasca, but it was nice. It was nice to take a break. And I know for a lot of people, that's not that long of a thing. They're like 2.5 months.
I went 2.5 whole months without drinking one of the most powerful psychedelics on earth.
But
Can you believe it?
It felt like a long time because that's why I came back to Peru, was like ayahuasca kind of specifically asked me to come and work with her and be serious about it. And I was for a solid like 1.5 years. And then I took, 2.5 months off. And it was actually so nice. Like, I did have moments where I really missed ayahuasca, but I think we talked a little bit about this. I realized like how deeply ayahuasca is just with me all the time now in my everyday life, just guiding me and helping me make smart decisions. And that was really it just made me feel good that it's like, oh, I tell people, oh yeah, you don't have to drink plant medicine, but then to actually live it is also good to have that knowledge just embodied. Like, yeah, I'm good without it.
Yeah.
And I had such a great time with my mom and my sister. And I also realized how much I've learned the past couple years just through interactions. And it's like, this is integration. Like that term gets thrown around a lot. But for me, I'm like, integration is just, you're integrating things that you've learned into your regular life. And it doesn't have to be from plant medicine. It could be from a fight you had with your mom. And then like, how do you move forward with that? How do you treat yourself? Like that is, I'm like, oh yeah, this is integration, just integrating my lessons constantly in everyday life. It doesn't have to be some wild plant medicine ceremony. It can just be a conversation with a family member. So it was really good. And then when I came back to ayahuasca last week, that was also really good. I was just like, I was having some nerves and because it had been a bit, and I was just sitting with Kevin. And
it's crazy that you still get nerves after sitting in probably 200 ceremonies at this point.
I don't get that nervous usually, but when it's been a while, like when there's been a break and I feel like I'm kind of out of my groove, and I go to sit with ayahuasca again, then I'm like, oh, butterflies.
Yeah.
But
and then every single time it's like, why was I nervous?
Why was I nervous? It was beautiful. I just was sitting there and yeah, I felt still a little bit afraid, but ayahuasca just came and I felt like she gave me a big hug and was like, this is what you wanted to feel. You wanted to feel home. And I was like, oh my God, I did. I was just crying. I'm like, you're right. I didn't even know I wanted that, but I did. She's like, yes, this is your home. But also my home is anywhere. It can be in any space with anybody because my body is my home. Yeah. But also ayahuasca is a home for me. Yeah. And that was just really beautiful.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
Since I'm actually curious. I was wondering, when we recorded the first podcast in the jungle, had you started your Vita program?
When was that? Was it last year?
Because that was last year in like May.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Got it.
So I had already been in it. So I started this program in 2024 at the beginning of the year. And it's a 2-year program. But I've had to get a year-long extension. And that's really common. Like when I first joined this program, she was saying that the most common complaint she gets is that it's just too much material. And she's like, I'm not going to change because I'd rather it be too much than not enough. And at the time I was like, yeah, give it to me. I'm ready. And now I'm like, this is a freaking PhD. Yeah. Like it is so much. And I was a really good student. And I just feel like this has been a struggle to try to manage my life and this program that's really intense. But I'm getting really close to the finish and hopefully I'll be officially certified at the end of this month or year. So it'll be my 3rd year in that program.
Nice.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
Would you like to tell me more about it?
Sure. So yeah, I don't think we talked about this last time, but it's Layla Martin's Vita program. I can't even remember what Vita stands for. It's something like Vital Integrated Tantra Approach, like something like that. But it's essentially...
Wait, Vita, like with a T?
V-I-T-A.
Oh,
yeah,
I always
Vita.
thought it was Vita this whole time.
Probably because I've been saying Vita.
Well, yeah, I mean also too, but like, Vita means life. So like I was just assuming like, oh yeah, like a life, like it sounds, it just sounds
coach.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, Vita.
Okay, Vita.
Vita, not Vita. Vita, but
Leviosa.
Leviosa. Exactly. I feel like if I said Vita, that's so annoying.
That's giving
Vita program.
That's giving big Hermione vibes.
I feel like when I was a kid, I strongly resonated with Hermione. Like, even though she's so annoying, she's got this like frizzy hair and she's so into school. And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
I'm not going to lie. I see that 100%. I'm not even going to pretend like I don't.
Oh my God. And yeah, we're getting on a Harry Potter tangent here, but I'm going to let it happen because I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm totally Slytherin. And everyone's like, you're Ravenclaw. And I'm like, ouch. I don't love that.
That's a dig. Damn.
But I can accept that now. I get it. I'm like, I feel like I could be Ravenclaw, but anyway. Have you ever identified with a Harry Potter house?
Ooh, I feel like I've taken the test and what's the 4th one?
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff. I think I was Hufflepuff. Like
I feel like Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw are the ones that like people don't really want to be.
I was definitely like one of the fringe ones. Like I wasn't a Gryffindor or
not
like
a main
Slytherin.
Character.
No, I wasn't the main character.
Oh, well, I love the idea of you as a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
But I can see you as anything. It's very cute.
I think I like the idea just in general of like anytime that there are those things and there's like, oh, like the big ones, like I kind of like being off to the side just because I feel like in my life now, like just kind of what being like a, you know, like a nomadic hippie is that.
Yep.
And that's just like, yeah, like I'm off to, like, I'm just doing my thing, you know.
Totally.
Nobody's really like, nobody's got a problem with me, but no one's also like, you know, really engaging with me at the same time.
Right.
Except for, you know, I'm off in my little corner with my little Hufflepuffs getting high.
I love that for you, actually.
Yeah.
Like when you put it like that, I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that.
It checks out.
Okay, so back to your original question. I'm in her Vita training, and it's a sex, love, relationship coach program, but it's called Sex, Love, and Relationship Coaching. But really, from what I'm learning, it can be applied to anything. It can be applied to like anything that you want help with coaching in your life. It can be applied to that, like career, but that's mainly the focus. And it is around this tantra approach of like, that's what she studied for the past 20 years and that's what she knows. And originally that's why I came to the program, because I was like, oh, the medicine was telling me to learn more about Kundalini energy and sexual energy and tantra. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll go to India and do that. And I started doing some research and being like,
India again.
No, well, this was before I went. But I was like, actually, I don't think I want to do that, because there's so much sketchy stuff that happens.
Yeah.
And the more I was researching, the more I was like, I don't feel like this is what I want to do. I don't want to just go to India and find someone to teach me about Tantra. And then I realized that this person, Layla Martin, had basically already done that. Like she'd already spent years and years, decades learning about this stuff and bringing it into methods and practices and exercises that make sense to someone who grew up in a Western world. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
And actually how I got into the program was kind of a crazy story, because I saw like an ad or something for this program and I didn't think much of it. And I had an ayahuasca ceremony, and ayahuasca's like, yeah, you need to do this program. And so I researched it, and it was so expensive. And at this time I had no money. So I was like, okay, maybe not. And then I was like, well, if I'm really supposed to do this program, just give me a sign. So the very next day, I'm at Casa de la Gringa to drink Wachuma, and one of the girls who was there starts talking about this program she was in. And I was like, are you by chance in the Vita program? And she was like, yeah. I was like, this is crazy. There's only been a few hundred people on the planet to do that. We're both in Peru. I asked for a sign. I'm like, do you recommend it? And she's like, absolutely. And so then I reached out to the program and said, I reached out for a scholarship, and I told them the truth that I couldn't afford it. And I was like really doubting that they were going to give it to me, because I'm just a white, straight woman. I'm not like any of the special reasons.
You don't check
why.
any of the boxes.
I don't check any of the boxes, just Caucasian female. But also I'm like, I've been dedicating the past few years of my life to plant medicine, and just was very honest. And they're like, sure, we'll give you a scholarship. So that's kind of the backstory.
Damn, that's sick.
It was awesome. And I had no more excuses to not do it. I was like, well, I'm doing it now.
Okay.
And it's been so cool doing that program in tandem with plant medicine stuff, because it's just so related.
Yeah.
And
what's the background of a lot of the people that are in the program? Like, do they come from like a therapy background, or having sort of already done this work, or some people just showing up and they're like, let's see.
All of the above.
Yeah.
So I went to a retreat with, I think, 100 women out of the 200 that were in my cohort of the program, and they were all over the map. Some of them were really experienced coaches. Some of them were really experienced in Tantra. Some of them had never done an ounce of work on themselves ever. So it was just a whole range of people, women of all colors, sizes, ages. Like, I think the youngest woman I met was in her early 20s, and probably the oldest was in her 60s, and everything in between, and all experiences. So that was really wild to feel like I wasn't the most experienced, I wasn't the least experienced, I was somewhere in the middle. And it definitely pushed me to whole new edges that ayahuasca hadn't taken me to yet. So I was like, okay, cool. These are new edges, and it was so much fun. And it's been really wild to learn about all this stuff. It's like really opened my mind to a whole new way of, I guess, living and healing.
Yeah. Can you expand on that?
Yes, Cam.
You can't just leave it there.
So I feel like one of the main things I learned about being a coach as opposed to a plant medicine facilitator is, let's say as an ayahuasca facilitator or plant medicine healer or whatever in that realm, it's more of shadow work and helping people heal. And I'm putting that in quotes, because it's really about looking at all of the parts of you and a lot of your past and a lot of your traumas and just looking at them and feeling them and accepting them. And the framework of a coach, at least in this program, is different than a therapist because you're not just rehashing the past, but you're constantly being in the present in your body and just seeing what is there now. So it's a lot about where you're going to as opposed to where you came from.
Gotcha.
So it's a lot about getting really clear, helping someone get clear on their desires, which can be a whole thing in itself because people are like, okay, I want to have an earth-shattering orgasm. And you're like, great, why? Then you can just go really deep onto that one thing. Like, and also, how's your sex life? Do you have a partner? And then you go deeper and deeper and realize like, they don't even feel safe talking about themselves. They can't say the word pussy or vagina. It's like, oh, it's like, well, how are you
Well,
gonna...
we'll beep that out, but yeah, of course.
Like, how are you gonna like have this earth-shattering experience when you can't even talk about your body and you don't feel safe in your body? So it's like, we have to start at safety.
Yeah.
And also the coaching program has been so cool because again, with plant medicine, you start as safety. But with this coaching program, it's a lot about pleasure and how pleasure can be this healing tool. And it's not just something that, oh, it's nice, it's fun, it's fun to feel good, but it's like actually using pleasure to heal yourself and to retrain your body to feel safe in feeling pleasure. And that is very deep work and can be very intense, especially for people who have all kinds of traumas or abuses. And again, it's not
So
about...
does a lot of that end up sort of coming up as you're doing that work too?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. So it's like, well, we're not focusing on the past. We're focusing on what's in your body. So if you're thinking, for example, okay, I really want to feel super relaxed and surrendered in my body. But then when you're really focusing on that, you feel part of you tense up. Like maybe your stomach is just like, like, so then you help them go into that part of them. Well, what's inside of you that's resisting surrendering? Like what doesn't feel safe to surrender? What doesn't feel safe to feel seen? And so it's all about, yes, we're working in the present, but of course it's on kind of stuff that's been from the past.
Yeah. His body's still keeping that motherfucking score, you know?
Body's keeping the score. Dude, the body has everything. All the answers are in there. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like, I think a challenge for me has been as an ayahuasca facilitator to be able to work with people for at least a week, at least 5 days, 3 ceremonies, and get really deep with a lot of the people. With coaching, it's an hour virtual. So kind of what we were saying at the beginning about the space that this podcast holds in person. I don't have that with coaching because it's virtual.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we have an hour and I'm not with you. It's a totally different container. And it can be just as powerful, which really surprised me, honestly. Because at the beginning, I was like, how am I possibly going to help somebody in the span of 1 hour? But then I was like, wow, this does really help. This is really
like,
cool.
I guess I can.
I guess
All
I
right.
can.
I guess these tools can be used for good.
Whoa.
Crazy.
Slytherin. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like when you were just talking about how when we think about healing, we think about like, you know, taking these traumas up and, you know, going deep and doing the shadow work. And yeah, I think that's definitely part of like, that's obviously part of healing, but so much of healing that is not talked about. And I think this is what I've been really going through lately is the healing side. That's not about excavating. It's actually about, okay, now I'm here. Let's experience more joy. Like, let's experience more pleasure. Let's just experience more happiness in my day-to-day life. And, you know, coming from at the beginning when it was all about like, okay, there's something there from my past that I got to dig up that's not allowing me to feel this. And now, you know, not saying that there's nothing there, because I'm sure there's fucking something. I'm sure I'll figure it out when I need to. But, you know, now I still sort of come at it like my mindset is the like, okay, if I'm having trouble experiencing joy, there's got to be something there that's holding me back. And I think lately I've just been realizing like, no, it's just me. It's just there's no secret hidden thing beneath my shadow. It's just me just being fucking hard on myself for no reason.
I love that. Unsurprisingly, I think I've been going through similar feelings lately. It just reminded me of, I don't know who said this. It's a quote from somewhere that's basically like, we're not doing the healing to be able to handle pain. You're healing to be able to handle joy and experience joy. And I think so many people are missing that. When I heard that, I was like, oh, that's a big one.
It's an awesome quote.
Especially because, yes, healing is beautiful. Like, it's sometimes a lot of us are going through life with such dark things that just need to be acknowledged. And once you look at those like heavy, dirty layers of yourself and like they've been peeled off or whatever, I think people definitely get caught into that healing downward spiral where they're like, oh, there's more to heal. And we kind of know how life works. It's your perception creates your reality. So if you're constantly looking for something to be healed, you're going to keep finding something to be healed. And then it's going to be an endless cycle of, oh, I'm trying to heal myself. I'm broken. It's like, instead of being like, I'm whole, I'm healed, I'm fixed, I can handle, like, can I handle joy?
Yeah.
Do I feel like I deserve to handle joy? Can I handle pleasure in my life? Yeah.
And that to me is like, it's been hard. Like it's been harder than I mean, not to say that I don't experience joy and pleasure and like all those things, but I don't think I experience it as consistently as I'd like to in my life. Like I'm not sure if that level is quite like the default is where I'd want it to be. Like it's, it's here, but it could be here. And then once it's there, it could be here.
Yeah.
I know that I'm capable of experiencing that, the goodness of life and the wholeness of it on such a more regular basis than I do. And so now it's just a lot more about catching myself. When am I just going down into when am I just, putting my head down and I'm just trudging along and not really enjoying it or doing it. It's not like I'm having a bad time either. Like I'm not, depressed and hating my life anymore, but
good,
but it's also not always like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. Like, yeah, life is beautiful. Like I still have to remind myself that constantly.
Yeah. I think you're really good at that. It seems like you're really good at that, but I absolutely think we could always lean back more into that feeling. That's another thing I learned in this program. And when I say pleasure, I don't just mean like sexual pleasure, any kind of good feelings in your body. But something interesting that I learned, which I think you were just alluding to, is that we all have a cap on how much goodness we allow ourselves to feel, which I thought was fascinating. Because when I first learned about that, I'm like, that seems crazy. Why would I limit the amount of love I can feel, for example? But in all of these exercises, it's like, a lot of the practices we did were about finding our edge of how much goodness we can let in, how much love we can let in, how much good feelings in our body, because everyone has a limit. And just like you said, it's about acknowledging that limit, loving that limit, and also like, maybe can we just gently bring that limit out a little bit more? Can I feel a little bit more joy? Can I allow myself to feel a little bit more pleasure? And just slowly doing that over time can just allow you to feel more of those good things.
Yeah. But it's it's fun. It's fun work, though.
It is.
It's a good time.
I find it to be so much more fun working with pleasure as a healing modality than working with like darkness and shadows, for example. I still love those, but
love me a good shadow. Love me a good demon.
Love it. I mean, we love ayahuasca, so we have to love that stuff. And I still love it, but there's something so beautiful in being like, you know what? You can heal this through pleasure. You can heal this through feeling good. And that doesn't mean you're going to feel good all the time. It means that like, yeah, your stuff is going to come up and you're probably going to cry. And that's another thing I've realized is the people who aren't allowing themselves to feel sad or scared or whatever aren't allowing themselves to feel love and pleasure and good.
Yeah.
And the more that you allow yourself to, I mean, we know this, but the more that you allow yourself to feel sad and scared and angry and cry and just like, oh, can you feel the depths of the sadness? Okay, well then you'll be able to feel the depths of the pleasure.
Yeah. Depths of the joy.
But until you do that, like it's like if you are feeling pleasure and you start to cry, do you just shut it down or do you just allow whatever is there to be there and just kind of let life be there without any judgment?
Yeah. I think as we're just talking about this, I feel like there's also this, for me, I think it's easier for me to let myself cry when it is like sadness, like when it is one of those things, than it is to let myself cry if I'm just sitting there and I'm just experiencing just like love, or if I'm just experiencing just like, intense euphoric happiness just because like, I see like a beautiful cloud going over the mountain. Like it feels like that's more taboo than it is at this point than it is to just let myself cry when I'm like, I'm really sad about something. So obviously I need to let this move through, but I also know that I need to release those emotions in some other way for the opposite too.
True.
And I think I hold on to those ones, or like, don't let that one flow as much as I do for again, the sad ones and the, the ones down here.
Yes. Oh, that's so interesting. Cause I just pictured you just crying, like weeping tears of joy at like a rainbow on a mountain.
Which I do sometimes. Absolutely. I still do that.
Like, I love that, but it is definitely less socially acceptable than just crying because you're sad. People are like, what is wrong with
like,
him?
What's going on?
Should we lock him up?
I'm like, do you see that? Look at the sunset. What do you mean?
Oh, wait. And that speaks a lot to our conditioning in our society because we're just not like feeling joy is like freaky. Oh my, that reminded me of what I was just talking to Kevin about the other night when he was like, so you used to be scared of throwing up? Because I used to have panic attacks and a lot of them would start with me feeling really sick and feeling really sweaty and gross. And then freaking out about throwing up and being like, I don't want to throw up in front of other people. He's like, why were you afraid to throw up? I was like, well, that's a good question. I think part of it was control. And part of it was because I didn't want people to judge me or like become the weird throw up girl. So I was like, I can't throw up.
But it was Britt throwing up again.
He's like, well, what happened after that? I'm like, well, I just started drinking a lot, and then barfing was socially
acceptable. Yeah, when you drink too much and you throw up, everyone's like, yep, that happens when you drink.
That's normal.
But if you're just existing and you throw up a lot, it's like, the fuck's wrong with you?
They're like, she's scared and she's throwing up. Like, ugh, that's not okay. But she's wasted and she's throwing up. That's fine.
Nice.
That's kind
tight.
That's what your crying story reminded me of.
No, that feels right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think Brene Brown says joy is the most vulnerable emotion. I think we've talked about this before, but that one keeps coming back around in different ways for me. Because for a while I was like, I'm just a really happy person. I feel very comfortable with joy and didn't realize all the little ways that I was kind of, pushing it out.
Yeah. Well, as we keep talking about this, I keep on thinking about when I was a kid and, we're all happy-go-lucky and just loving life in the world and stuff. And then, depending on what your circumstances are, but, my dad was just sort of an angry guy sometimes, and mom was struggling with this, that it did feel like when I was just over here experiencing all this joy and they were experiencing this hardship, it felt like I wasn't supposed to be experiencing joy if they weren't. So I had to then cap my joy, even though I didn't even know what I wasn't allowed to be happy about. Like, I don't care about your adult problems. That's not my issue. Sorry. But
good for you.
But that being said, but still the subconsciously, like my mind is still then like, no, you need to calm it down because they can't handle that. They're deep in this thing. So your joy is just going to trigger them even more. So then I was naturally like, okay, when I can't experience this amount of joy in front of other people. Wow. And I still think that there is that resistance to experiencing a lot of joy around people. Like I think I have less of a problem experiencing it when I'm just by myself. Like, and I'm alone in my room meditating, like I'll cry because I'm just existing and stuff. But if I'm meditating, even if I'm meditating with other people, like a safe space, I think I'm still less likely to be able to just like allow emotions to go through.
Whoa. Yeah. I don't think I've ever thought about that, but I think that's a really good point. I used to tell my sister, like, I think the happiest place that I ever am was driving my car alone in traffic, blasting my favorite songs and just like scream singing. Yeah. And when you're talking, I'm like, I think I never thought about it in that context of because I'm alone and because nobody can judge my joy and I don't have to feel bad about feeling joy. Yeah. Nobody can like question, why are you so happy? And like, that was a conversation I had with Maeve one time, just cause like sometimes I'll be, especially since I've started doing like stand up, I'll just be walking sometimes and I'll just start like, I'll be thinking of a joke and I'll just start giggling to myself and just like look crazy. But then she'll be like, what are you so happy about? And I'll make my mood go down because I don't want to be, I don't know. There's something weird about when you're being asked about like, what's making you so happy? And it's like half the time it's like, I don't even fucking know is the thing. So like, I don't want to then have to like go in and try to explain it. And it feels like I'm doing something wrong when I know I'm not, but it feels like I am. And there's so many layers to that too. I think about some people where they're like, oh, well, how dare we feel joy when there's so much suffering in the world? And for me, I'm like, that's actually really, really important that we do feel joy despite all the suffering in the world. That's what's going to help. The collective is like our own individual vibration. And that's really hard to understand. That's not something you just can explain to someone over a casual walk.
No. Your suffering, you choosing to suffer has never made somebody who's suffering suffer any less.
Right.
Ever. It's never worked.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
And I tell people that too. I mean, slightly different topic, but when guests, they have no idea where to start with loving themselves or feeling self-love. And I'm like, well, the way that you're doing it now is as if you had a teacher who's just like throwing shit at you constantly and telling you that you're a horrible person and that you're ugly and that no one likes you. And I'm like, show me any examples of where that's ever helped somebody, because I've never seen it work ever.
Yeah.
I've never seen this like mean, shameful version of like what some people might call tough love and I just call being an asshole.
Yeah.
It's like that's never really helped anybody.
Yeah.
What actually helps people is just being loving and being there and being like, whatever's here, I got you. Like whatever's here, I accept it. And I think the same thing with joy. It's such a weird one that people are surprised by finding out that they're like scared to feel joy, or it's hard for them to feel joy. But I'm like, it's when you really unpack it, there's so many reasons why we don't feel so comfortable feeling a lot of joy.
Yeah. Something that I know you've talked about before when we've been just, hanging out and stuff, but sort of the idea of like using sort of back to the Vita coaching stuff, but like using pleasure and like allowing yourself to feel this pleasure is actually how you stop the, child trafficking, Jeffrey Epstein type motherfuckers from existing, is by actually going into that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. God, that was such a crazy, we've all had a crazy journey on this planet, I'm sure, but my journey with plant medicine has been so fucking weird. Sometimes I'm like, what is going on? Like when ayahuasca told me I'm supposed to help with the energy of child sex trafficking, and I was just so confused. I'm like, what? I have no personal experience with this. I don't even know where this is coming from. Fast forward years later, and I'm like, I understand. I get what she's talking about.
Got it.
Ayahuasca told me a lot of stuff that was going to happen, and it's all unfolding as she told me it was going to. And yeah, that doesn't make it any easier to swallow. In fact, when you asked me how things have been going at the beginning, now I'm feeling pretty good, but it depends on the day. Like a few months ago, I was just crying so much, and I'm like, what is this about? And it's like this collective sadness and heaviness of all the stuff that's going on and people being thrust into awareness of things that they're not necessarily ready to be aware of. And I'm like, yeah, that's hard. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling stuff for people that can't hold that feeling. And okay, I'm here for that. But yeah, what do we do? What do we do against this? I'm like, we don't go around trying to hunt people, and we don't like spend all our time focusing on the details of what's going on. What we do is, we come back into our bodies and we start just being in your body, be like understanding what that feels like. I feel like so many people are so disconnected from their body. Like, especially women, we've been trained to ignore all of the signs of our body. Like if your stomach is clenching or you're feeling like, oh, maybe I should leave this scenario because someone's making me feel uncomfortable. But we've been trained like, no, you need to be a good girl. You need to have your manners. You can't like run away from the situation.
Don't speak up. Don't be too much. Don't take up too much space.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And all of that has led to women completely ignoring all of the signals from their bodies. And I'm like, let's come back into our bodies and start listening to the signals, women and men, and start actually paying attention to what our bodies are trying to tell us. Maybe it is just fear that's really old, that's not helpful, or maybe it's like a fear that you need to listen to and you need to get the fuck out of there to be safe, right? So I think that's like a big one. But the second one that's a little bit more woo-woo is that sexual energy and pleasure energy can actually be used to transform energies. So if there's like some dark, twisted version of sexual energy out there, which there 100% is, and I would argue it's probably causing most of the problems on our planet. Because of that, I'm like, well, what's the solution is to get back into your body and stop feeling shame. Like, stop feeling shame about your own sexual nature as a human being, because I'm like, we are sexual beings and we are wired to feel pleasure. And because of that, and mostly because of Christianity being like, that's actually horrible and sinful for you to feel pleasure. It's disgusting. Well, now look at what that's done. That's like putting our own nature as something bad. Yeah. And it's making us feel bad about just something that's natural and good. Yeah. And
the Catholic Church being just the perfect example of obviously following everything that they believe in. Right.
It makes no sense to me at all. That's a whole nother podcast. We could talk about that. But it's basically like, to me, a lot of religious or ancient texts have talked about using sexual energy to connect with God. And this divine union between a man and female is like a man and a woman is like where you can really connect with sacred, divine God, whatever word you want to use. And that's been totally lost. And we can't, it's like, you can't just get back there. You can't just be like, I want to have that, without doing a bunch of work on yourself, feeling safe in your body and understanding that this is your body, this is your vessel, and there's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to be ashamed of with your body. And to try to combat that messaging after not just like our whole lifetimes, but thousands and thousands of years, it's like in our DNA and in our ancestry. That's a lot.
Yeah, generations upon generations of people believing that this is a bad thing that you're not supposed to feel.
Yep.
And then you get all of that plus everything that we're, getting from society on top of that.
Exactly. It's deep. And it's a tough one, but I would also, for me, my personal beliefs, think it's one of the most important things that we could do here is just reclaim our own bodies and our sexuality and our sovereignty and come back to that. And I think that's what's really going to be helpful in all this darkness, is just people remembering who the fuck they are and remembering that they don't need to feel ashamed about feeling pleasure. Like that's such a dark, deep, twisted thing. And it can become so powerful. Like I use that energy in plant medicine ceremonies as well, not like self-pleasuring, but using sexual energy to transform dark or twisted energies. And it's such a powerful, beautiful energy and beautiful tool. It's a little bit more advanced level stuff, but it's been really fun. And again, the plants have been the ones to teach me all of this. So I'm not recommending people just like jump into that if they're working with plant medicines, but it has been enlightening.
Yeah. Was this something that you ever thought that you were going to be going into? Okay, yeah.
Absolutely not. When I started working with ayahuasca, and because in the Shipibo tradition, when you're dieting and working with ayahuasca, it's like, don't even think about sex. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. And I was having all this energy coming up, and I was like, I'm really turned on. I'm really horny. Like, I'm having all these sex dreams. And I'd ask my curandera, like, what do I do? And she's like, just pray that they don't happen anymore. And I tried that, and I was like, this isn't
not working. Well, that happened to me too. Like during 2 of my diets that I've had, I've only done 5 diets or something. Like I had wet dreams, and like that doesn't normally happen in my life. And and now when I'm on my diet, when I'm specifically not supposed to be thinking about it or doing it, why the fuck does that happen during that? Obviously there's something there.
There's something there.
That's not by accident. It's not because ayahuasca is trying to punish me.
No. And it's such a common experience. Like usually men don't tell me, but they tell the other male facilitators about their wet dream experiences and they're freaking out. They're like, oh my God, are the plants going to be so mad? I'm like, you didn't try to do anything. You didn't do anything wrong. It's fine. But it is interesting.
Does the Shipibo, like, have you talked to Lydia or anybody, like their general view on sex outside of, an ayahuasca diet?
Yeah, to them, the only thing she said to me is that sex is its own powerful medicine. So they just don't like to combine them.
Gotcha.
Which makes total sense to me. I'm like, there are Shipibo people out there who are combining them, and that can get really messy and nasty and gross. Like, I haven't heard of anyone who's doing that in a beautiful way that's like consensual,
in a wonderful, intentional,
with integrity.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that happening. So I think that's why Lydia's who's my teacher, just keeps them very separate. She's like, it's not a bad thing. It's just its own very powerful medicine that's separate. When people are coming to us, they want help from ayahuasca and dieting, so we're gonna separate them from that other medicine.
Okay, gotcha. But otherwise, they do see it like as an energy that's not to be like, you're not supposed to be ashamed of it or anything like that.
Definitely. They don't think it's shameful at all. But they definitely think it's very powerful. And one of the first things ayahuasca taught me about sex was that, at least for me, there's no such thing as casual sex. Like, she's like, casual sex doesn't make any sense. Like, together, those terms are opposite. Like, sex isn't casual. It's like this insane alchemy of energies and exchanging energies and fluids and all these things that people just aren't aware of. And so, it's like I said, at least for me, not a casual thing. And that made sense to me when ayahuasca told me that, because I was like, it's never felt casual to me. And I've tried to make it a casual thing, but
didn't
it's
work.
not. Yeah,
I always just got sad.
Me too. So you tried the casual sex thing too?
Yeah, absolutely. It just never worked. Like every time that it would always end up being like, yeah, I can totally, you know, like I'm a dude, I fuck, you know, and then, and then I do that and be like, damn, I also cuddle.
Oh, I love that.
But, yeah, no, I mean, after sexuality and like my relationship to women and sex and to myself and sex wasn't something that I was trying to work on before my first ayahuasca retreat. And then, this wasn't even like a message I got during ceremony or anything like that. But after my first ayahuasca retreat, I was immediately just like an intuitive thing. Like, okay, I need to stop watching porn. And also I need to like actually not even try to have sex with anybody just for the foreseeable future. Like it was no even time limit. It was just like, I actually need to develop a relationship with myself and learn how to love myself before I can love somebody else. And bringing sex into the mix, the energy just like, it just fucks it up a little bit. It makes it hard for me to focus on myself when that energy of another human being is also in my field.
Exactly.
Like it just gets really muddy.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you for recognizing that in yourself and doing that for yourself. Cause I know, I mean, women and men, sometimes we have similar problems, but like I would say the most common problems for men seem to be porn addictions, and masturbation addictions, and also just feeling like they have to, they're very goal oriented during sex. So either they have to orgasm or their partner has to orgasm, and that's when they know that they did a good job. Those are the main.
A gold star.
Yes, gold star. And so it's like the women and men have slightly different, I would say, manifestations of their problems, but ultimately it comes down to the same solutions, which is being present with your body, finding out what does your body want. Like, are you watching porn and like feeling amazing afterwards? Or are you just like masturbating all the time mindlessly and then you feel like shit and you feel shame and you feel guilt? Like just becoming to pay. Yeah. I think for most people it's that one. And same with casual sex. It's like some people, I genuinely believe that that's awesome for them and they feel great about it. But I would say for most people that I've talked to, they're trying to do something that's socially acceptable, like you said, especially as a man. Oh, it's like really cool if I can just go out and fuck people without getting emotionally attached. But then was sitting with the reality of what's your body telling you, and it's just feeling like shit. And it's like, okay, well, like I said, good for you for actually recognizing that and just stopping those behaviors. Because
thunder. I don't think you can hear it on these mics, but there's thunder right now.
It's a very special storm.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it was really just interesting when that happens. Like, again, nothing during the ceremonies ever even alluded to anything of that nature. But that was definitely like a deep realization and something that, I mean, helped me so much. I mean, the first person that I then was involved with sexually, like after that, was Maeve. And now she's my partner. Aww. So, you know, it did its job.
It did its job.
It is funny when guys do talk to me and, you know, certain, just, you know, some of my friends and stuff that like are like, oh, I just can't find the right woman. Like, you know, it's all this. And like, I know that they're also having casual sex and stuff. I'm like, well, here's what I did. I stopped completely. And then just like, but like, it was literally like, I stopped completely. And like, I trust when I'm ready for a relationship, the girl's going to show up. And it fucking happens. Like, it works. I don't know what more to tell you other than like, that's my experience. I'm not saying that's going to work for you, but you know, a lot of people, whatever you're trying isn't fucking working. So maybe give this one a shot.
Try something else.
Yes, this is just, you know.
Yes, I think that's great advice. And I think that's really hard for people when they're like, oh, this isn't working. Please help me. But I don't want to change anything about my life. And you're like, well,
all right.
You get to choose one of those. You either keep your life exactly as it is and you feel the same way forever, or you make some changes. Yeah.
It's tough. It feels like too, especially with relationships. And I think like the ages that we are, like there is this pressure to get into a relationship. And it sort of feels like, well, if I'm not going on dates and I'm not sleeping with people and I'm not doing it, then like, then I'm not putting myself out there. And it's like, again, for me, the opposite was true. When I went out of it, when I stopped doing that, that was in me telling the universe, I am putting myself out there by not doing these things, by choosing intentionally to stop this behavior. This was me putting myself out there. Yeah. And then just, again, trusting that I would know when it is fine for me to start doing that again, like when I can do that. Yep. But like, it is scary. And there was the social pressure of, you know, when I would go out, I'm not talking to girls. Like I'm just hanging out with the boys, like and just doing, you know, and even just not going out as often and things like that, that made it was hard.
It is hard, especially because, I mean, right now I've been single for so long that I actually feel great about it. But I did go through a really uncomfortable period of just being like, trying to convince myself I was okay without a partner, but not actually feeling okay without a partner, and just being like, no, I know this is what I need, but I don't like it. And one of the hardest parts for me, I'm sure people can relate to this listening, but it was just like, I'm 35, and for years and years, people would just be like, how are you going to meet someone? You're not even going out. Like, you're not dating. You're not on apps.
You don't even live in the country.
Right. And I'm like, I don't know how many more times to tell you this. I'm not trying to meet someone right now. Like, that's not my goal. That's not my end goal in life. Like, I ultimately eventually want a partner, but I knew deep down that that's not what I was doing right then. But it does get hard when all of society and your family and your grandma are just like, girl, what's going on? Like,
oh my God. Every time I would talk to my grandma, she'd always be like, oh, you're going to have kids soon? I was like, Grandma, we're not even fucking close to that. I'm not even married yet. Like, there's so many things that have to happen before you're going to get more grandchildren. I'm so sorry.
Does she have any grandchildren?
That grandma had great grandchildren at that point. It was like collecting fucking Pokemon for her. I don't know.
Just like tokens.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was a thing. So yeah.
Wow.
She's dead now, but you know, R.I.P.
R.I.P. She'll see her children from heaven.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to have kids? I think we've talked about this, but you're like on the fence.
Yeah, it's not like an even like, yes, I want to, no, I don't want to. It's more of like, I'm open to it, and I know now's not the right time. I know like right now in this exact moment, no, I do not want to have kids.
Yeah.
Can I imagine a future version of myself that has kids? Like, absolutely. Do I have a desire to be a good dad? Like, yes, 100%. But, you know, I think there's so many other things that I want to do. And now it's just about, you know, I trust when the time is right, when I know that it's supposed to happen, or, you know, if we fuck up, then, and a kid's there, then, okay, this is it.
That's it. I mean,
then this is the time.
I think you said the main thing, which is just trust. Like, a lot of it just comes down to trust and surrender. And in our culture, that's not really taught. People don't know how to trust and surrender. No. They're like, what do you mean you're just going to sit back and let people come to you? And I'm like, well, that's how it's worked my entire life so far.
Yeah.
I've never been on the dating apps besides like a very brief stint a really long time ago. But all of my relationships have just like kind of come to me, like you're saying.
I was on all the dating apps. They were terrible. They've just
always given me like the heebie-jeebies.
They were just truly awful. It felt being icky on them, but again, like I was on them while also actively hating being on them at the same time, because I didn't know what else to do. Like that was what everyone was kind of doing.
Yeah.
And there was this weird pressure, but also this pressure of like, I'm judging these people based on pictures and based on these like arbitrary prompts that obviously cannot even begin to tell even like 1% of the story of who somebody is.
Right.
And then we're just judging people first based on that. And it's like, I don't know, just the idea of swiping in general, even social media, swiping on Instagram and TikTok, swiping on dating apps. Like it creates this idea that you don't have to work very hard to like get these like huge rushes, but then we expect them to somehow be like sustained. And like, that's just not how it works. Like you get a small little rush and then it fucking goes away. And then like, even, you know, casual sex was the same thing. You get this huge rush and then you're immediately back down to below baseline feeling like shit.
Wow. Yeah. It's like literally like a drug where you just have to keep taking more and more to get the same feeling, to get the same high.
100%.
But it is tough. It's tough because it's also tough to explain to people, oh, what I'm doing is just trusting and surrendering to life, because they've never done that. They're like, well, you need like a backup plan. You need a plan A, B, C. You need to have all
when
these
that
things.
Doesn't work, then what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just kind of floating.
And it is interesting too, even just thinking of growing up and having a backup plan for everything. It's sort of telling the universe that like, I expect plan A to fail. So I'm going to prepare for plan B and plan C, because what, you know, again, like if you're saying, well, if this doesn't work and you're preparing for it not to work, then it's not going to work. But if you're
Wow.
just preparing for it to work and you're like, I don't know if I can backup plan, then like it has to work. There's
love
zero
that.
other options other
like,
than it
yes.
working. It's not going to work how you want it to. It's just, probably not, but it has to work eventually.
Yes. Oh, I really love that. I've never thought about backup plans like that, but it's almost like backup plans are saying that you're not believing in your original plan.
Yeah.
You're not having faith that this is actually going to happen. So you need contingency plans. That's good.
I feel like, lately there's been a lot of looking at my relationship to, I don't know, how I view the universe, like my relationship with God and my relationship with myself and trusting in myself, which is all the same thing too. But yeah, realizing that when I say I'm going to do something, or like for example, when I said on one of my videos recently, like try hard, how that's a phrase, but like, why don't we say try easy? Like that doesn't mean that you're not trying. It just means that you're saying that I don't want this to be like, I'm going to try, but I don't want this to be hard. But yet everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to try hard. And you're just inviting difficulty and you're like making it hard when you don't have to. And so just looking at those like little ways that you say words and those little phrases that we have, like, what are we actually trying to accomplish here? And why are we saying it this way? Can I say it a different way? And by saying that I'm going to try easy, I'm not saying that I'm just going to sit back and do nothing, because that's not trying. But I'm saying I'm going to put in the work and do that, but just let it be easy.
Let it be easy. I love that. Try easy. Yeah. And I think it reminds you just how we've glamorized like the hustle, and we've glamorized trying hard and like putting in a bunch of hours, and
You got to grind.
And I'm just like, that's never resonated with me. I'm not a grinder. I'm more of a chiller. Let things come to me, or
A truster.
and it works. Like trusting in God and life, it totally works, but it is difficult for a lot of people to just loosen the grip.
Yeah.
And just relax. It's like, I don't know, I just got the image of if someone's getting massaged and they're like, oh, you need to relax. And they're like, I am relaxed. And you let go of their arm and it like stays exactly where it is. It's like, they don't even realize how much they're holding on all the time. It's like, just relax, just surrender.
I'm always really bad at that. Anytime I've ever gotten like been in those situations where someone's like, all right, just be, and then they'll take my arm up and then my arm will just stay there. And I'll be like, what do you mean? I'm relaxed.
This is completely relaxed.
Look at this. This is relaxed. I'm like, you're holding your arm up. That means your muscle's flexed.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, okay. Got it.
I feel like that's a metaphor for life in general. People are like, what do you mean? I am surrendering. I am trusting in the flow. Meanwhile, they're just gripping on to everything that they can possibly feel like they're in control of. And that's even just me doing that right now is exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, just let it go.
Yeah. I remember during that one ceremony that I had during the retreat that we were on, I guess the ceremony happened after we recorded our podcast, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but it was the one in which it was just like teaching me about trust and surrender. And like, I was just feeling this fear, and Kevin at the beginning is like, well, the antidote to fear is trust. And I was like, oh, that's good advice. Like, that makes perfect sense. And like, I'm just like sitting on my mat and like, okay, I trust. like expecting something to happen and just being like, I've never actually done this before. I don't know what this feels like. I'm not sure I know what's going on here. I can't just do this. Like until you've actually experienced it, you can't just do it. I don't know. It's weird.
I totally agree. And I feel like it's not something you can think your way into either. And everyone tries, myself included. I see a lot of people in ayahuasca ceremonies. They're like, okay, so I've done the research. I know I just need to sit here and surrender. So tell me how to surrender. And I'm like, well, first of all, you can't, there's no instruction manual I'm going to be able to give you that will make your mind comfortable to surrendering to the situation. It's going to take time. It's going to take practice. You're probably going to have to resist to feel what that feels like. And then you're going to finally give up and just relax and not think about anything. And then that's when you'll start to understand what surrendering is. Because to me, it comes from your body. It comes from your heart. It's not something that you're thinking of. Someone's like, give me the instructions to surrender. I'm like, first of all, your mind needs to not be so involved in this process.
Yeah. You gotta go over there.
Yeah. And it's not, I don't know. I have a hard time defining what surrender really is or what it really means. But yeah, to me, it's a feeling. It's not something I can really explain. It's like something that you have to experience to understand.
Yeah, I completely agree. Are you going to read the Surrender Experiment soon?
I will read the Surrender Experiment. Yeah, it's been on my list forever.
Yeah. What was the book that you told me about?
The more beautiful world our hearts know is possible.
Yeah.
Charles Eisenstein.
Believe it or not, I actually downloaded that on my Kindle last week and was like, I'm going to read this before our podcast, and I haven't even started.
I was about to be so impressed. I was like, whoa.
No, but it's there. It's ready.
Well, step 1 complete. You have it. It's downloaded.
It's ready.
Okay, next time we talk, we can chat about that book because it's really, really amazing.
Okay.
I hope you like it as much as I did.
You can tell me a little bit about it, though.
Ooh, it's been a really long time since I read it, but from what I remember, it's basically him talking about how do we create the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. And a lot of people get really overwhelmed by thinking about things in the grand scheme of things, and they think way too big. They think global because that's what the media and everything wants us to think about. And that keeps us trapped in this place of like helplessness and fear, and I can't possibly do anything, or I can't possibly feel happy when someone's suffering around the world.
Someone's suffering 6,000 miles away.
So far away.
Yeah.
And what really brings us happiness and will create his argument, his theory or whatever in the book is what will create a more beautiful world is just by focusing on yourself and the people who are right in front of you, the people who you interact with on a daily basis, your motor taxi driver if you live in Peru, like the person who works at the grocery store.
Your Uber driver if you're in the States.
If you live in the States. Yeah. And I think when I was reading that book, I think I was in the States realizing how little human interaction I had with strangers and how sad that was. And so I tried to make more of an effort to just be just extra kind and smiley to everyone I met, like people on the sidewalk, which again, I got a lot of weird looks for that on the streets. If you give someone a smile, they're like, what's wrong with you? But just little, like all the people that you can help are in front of you, like physically, or just like life will present them as a person that you can help. And you don't have to like try to help someone or try to save them, but it's basically just about you constantly helping yourself. And the way that he talks about helping yourself is, I think we talked a little bit about this, but long-term versus short-term pleasures. So he's like, our world is designed for short-term pleasures, like those things you were talking about, the quick dopamine hits, the casual sex, the scrolling on TikTok, the candy. And that feels okay for a little bit, but it feels like shit long-term. Yeah. And it builds and builds and builds into this kind of downward spiral. And that's kind of what a lot of short-term pleasure looks like. But what does long-term pleasure look like? He's like, a lot of times it looks like painful decisions in the short term. Going to the gym, it's kind of painful.
Yeah.
Having an uncomfortable conversation with somebody that you really need to talk about your boundaries. Like, I don't know, all these things that are uncomfortable and people avoid so much, but they don't realize what's on the other side of those, which is such long-term pleasure.
Yeah.
Feeling good about yourself.
Like fucking genuine like euphoria.
Yes.
Just like
and it was earned.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't just get like a dopamine rush. Like I got full serotonin just running through this bitch now.
Exactly. And like you did that for yourself and you can feel good about that, as opposed to just like getting these like little tokens that light us up for a second, but we don't feel actually good about them.
Yeah. And also too, like you get it from doing nothing. And like your body and your mind knows that you put in zero effort and got this awesome reward. And then it's just like, I don't know, it's training your brain to just chase that like all the time. Like it is no different than, hardcore drugs.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think about this. This reminds me of this study because I studied psychology in college. I'm sure a lot of people know this study that I'm talking about, where initially the study came out and said, this is about rats and addiction. So they had the water that was just water. And then they had the water that was laced with cocaine. And all of these rats were just like obsessed with the cocaine water and they drank it until they died. Someone later did an experiment where like, well, they were just rats in a cage. Yeah. What if you put in this whole little like rat playground and give them something to actually have fun in? Well, in that environment, they didn't actually choose the cocaine water and overdose until they died. They just like were existing and having fun and had things to do. And I'm like, that is such a beautiful example of our world, because people are living in these little cages, these little boxes, and they feel like shit. And so the only thing that actually they have the energy to do is just scroll or eat or have casual sex. And it's like, that's just...
Or drink.
Alcohol, big one. So they don't have this other option. They don't see the option of like, well, what if that wasn't your only option? What if you could actually do some hard things? You'd feel so much better about yourself in the long term.
The idea of like, when I was going through school, it's really interesting. Like community just inherently existed. I was always constantly around my peers doing the same things, learning similar things, like going through life. And that just exists as you grow up. And then, once you're 18, maybe you go to college, maybe it still sort of exists. But then once you're out in the working world, that doesn't really exist anymore, except for maybe your corporate job. But like, that's also, there's just so many weird rules that I don't even have to get into that, like, that's not real life. But like, as far as having like a social life and just like being around people, it takes so much effort as an adult. Like, I've noticed this now, and this is something Maeve and I are really working on right now, is like, okay, we want to maintain our relationships and like feel like we're a part of something and be in community. Well, sometimes we would rather stay in on a Saturday night and just watch a movie, but our friend is having a fire and we have to be outside. Maybe we'll be a little cold, but like, that will make us feel better in the long run, having done that and be around people, than just staying inside and doing nothing for, 4 days in a row. And, even being intentional about like having meals with people, like inviting people over, again, just casually to just fucking be around. Like, and, I felt like there was this kind of idea when I was in my 20s of when I'm hanging out with somebody, like there kind of had to be a purpose to it. Like, oh, we're hanging out to go grab food, or we're hanging out to go on a run or go to the gym, or I wasn't actually doing that. I was grabbing drinks. I'm not going to pretend like I was doing
go to the bar.
Any of those wholesome activities. But like, there was always something to do in those things. And now I'm realizing like, we don't have to be doing something other than just existing with each other and being around one another. And I think that's doing enough.
Those are really beautiful examples. I get caught in those traps sometimes too, even living here, where I'm like, yeah, do I want to go out and hang out with friends, or do I want to just like stay in my comfy, cozy couch with my blankets? And it's also, I guess it's not something I've done consciously, but just through living my life and realizing what makes me feel good long term, it's like, it just makes you want to do those things because you know that they'll feel good.
Yeah.
Like,
and sometimes saying no to those events and staying home actually is the thing that is going to make me feel much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Rather than getting pressured into always be, so there's like, I don't know, there's all these ends of the spectrum.
Absolutely. And I think that's another thing that I hear so much in healing circles or places like spiritual groups, where there's all these like black and whites and rules. And I just don't believe in that, because even that example, it's like, for example, rest has been something that I've had a weird relationship with sometimes, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so good at resting. But then when I'm actually when it actually comes down to me resting and not just like doing my emails or sending some messages or doing a million things in my mind, it's like, it's actually really difficult. So but then I was like, well, it'd be really easy for me to just say, from that experience that I had, to just say, well, rest is very important. We need to rest more. No one's doing it enough. Because I actually see quite the opposite in a lot of people, where they're resting all the time.
That's me.
And then they just get in this this spiral of energy.
I'm resting and doing nothing, but I'm thinking about everything that I need to do after I'm done resting. And therefore, while I'm resting, I'm not doing it. And then when it comes time for me to do those things, I have no energy because I've been thinking about it the whole time. It just never ends.
Exactly. So like, we need to be careful of like what we're talking about when we say certain words. Like, yes, rest is important, and I think more people need to do it. But I think a lot of people are like, oh, okay, well, I rest all the time. And I'm like, but what does your rest look like? Yeah. Are you like scrolling on your phone the whole time? Are you just thinking of all the things you need to do? Like, that's not really resting. That's just going to make you more exhausted.
All right, Britt, I think this is the end of the podcast.
All right. We did it.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you? I'll link to all this too. But
sweet.
Let them know.
I'm on Instagram _True Brit with 2 T's. I also have a True Brit podcast.
Fuck yeah, she does.
On Spotify and YouTube. You should come on there someday soon. Yeah. Maybe we can come back to this room.
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, for everybody listening or watching at home, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to follow me as well. All this will be in the footnotes. Be sure to check out my Patreon, where I release all of these episodes early. You get exclusive early access and some other goodies that I will decide at a later date. And yeah, that's it. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever it is that you're watching this, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. And see you next episode. Thank you so much. Much love.
Thank you, Cam.
Thanks, Britt.